You ever met a person that was no good for you and caused trouble in your life, in your mind, and in your life? You ever met a person like that? Well, ladies and gents, that's a devil, right? The devils do evil, they do bad. This comes in many forms. If you're a man, this might come in the form of a beautiful woman who's promiscuous, a beautiful woman who's a complainer and a nagger, or a detractor, or a distractor. And what you might not realize is not only is it the negative things that they do and say directly to you that will have a bad impact on your affairs, on your mindset, on your confidence, on your focus, on your happiness, on your peace of mind. Not only is it what they will do directly, but even how they will derail you, which means that when they finally leave your life, you're still off track. Marquette, that was deep. What do you mean? Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say you're dealing with a chick who's not like you. You don't drink at all. You hang out in certain environments. You meet a girl, she's gorgeous. You say, hey, I want to hang out this Friday. What do you want to do? She says, let's go to the club. Your first thought is, the club? I don't drink. I don't really go to the club like that. But all right, cool. You're trying to mess with shorty. Let's go to the club. So here you are going to the club, which is not your nature or personality, but you're trying to deal with this girl who's nothing like you. You are of good, she is of wickedness. You are of light, she is of darkness. So you go to the club, and it's all right. You end up spending more money than you wanted. Maybe you pay for VIP. You know, she's getting slizzard, and you're there. You're not really comfortable because you're not in a place that's meant for you. You're not around people who are good people. So she gets slizzard, and you're taking her out of the club, and she's like all sloshed and sloppy, and her clothes are kind of coming disarranged, and guys are looking around, they're smelling blood. They can see that she's slizzard. You're walking out with her. Her skirt is too short, so it's coming up in the back. Guys are walking up, saying things to her. Now they're starting to come into negative engagement with you. You get her into the Uber, and you Uber her to her house, and then you got to Uber to your house. You're spending extra money. And now you've been out till 4 a.m. So the next day you're supposed to wake up and get to work, and then you wake up late, you miss a meeting, and then you say, this woman's no good for me. So you decide not to deal with her anymore. But you forget that you've been derailed because now you're behind on sleep. You've missed a meeting, which is to say a business opportunity. You didn't exercise that day. Now the person you might have met when you were at the gym, you didn't meet. The deal you might have done if you didn't miss it due to sleepiness, you didn't make. And so the cost of dealing with a wicked person is not only the direct impact of the negative experiences you have directly with them, like the fact that she vomited when you were walking her out to the Uber and some of it got on your shoe. Not only that experience, but also the derailment, you trying to recover and get back on track with your life. And it can be bigger than the things that I've identified. I just made that up on the fly because this is an experience some of you may be able to relate to, not I. But the fact is that allowing a wicked or a devilish person into your life will derail you. And I am encouraging you to judge, in an informed way, but yes, judge. You have so many people who portray themselves as better than they are. And most of them are the Bible thumpers. Most of them are the persons who purport to be religious. They use it as a cloak. I cannot tell you how every single female I meet who purports to be deep in the word of God, whether she's a Christian or a Muslim, I find it always to be consistently untrue. Consistently. And as I peel back the layers, I find that their actual character and conduct is out of line, not only with God, but certainly with me. And I want to encourage you all to judge. You see, in the society, we're encouraged to accept. We're encouraged to, we're all equal and all this nonsense, which is not true. You see, if you're dealing with a female and she has had some unfortunate things happen to her, at least she claims, in terms of, being abused sexually, you can't just take what she says at face value. You need to think through it and also ask yourself, did she play any part in creating this situation? Well, what do I mean? If you go to a party and you're using designer drugs and you're drinking to excess and then something bad happens to you, you kind of set yourself up for that. right? I'm not saying bad things don't happen to good people. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's more likely that bad things happen when you're exhibiting bad behavior. So that's one thing to be aware of when you hear that from a female. And I just want to give you guys these things such that you can be cautious as you move through this world as a good person. Because here's the challenge of being a good person, someone who's truly saintly in nature, kind-hearted. You want to believe people are good. Why? Because you're good. Yes, you're good. You're seeing them through your eyes as a good person, and you don't understand their negative instincts, right? Like, for example, if you were out in the world and you saw a wallet sitting on a park bench, your instinct would be to leave it there or to take it to the nearest lost and found. That would be your instinct. So someone else stealing it, which would be opposite of you, which would be the wicked thing to do, it wouldn't cross your mind to assume that anyone else around you is inclined to do that, because that wouldn't really cross your mind. So as a good person, you have trouble really dealing with those who are not good people because your thinking and your predisposition is different. It's radically different. So you have trouble protecting against these people because low key, it's hard for you to actually believe that they're wicked because you're not. Just like me, for example, I love women so much. When I'm out in the world, sometimes I'm around the world. I remember I was in Dubai and I was observing like some homo Arab dudes. I was like, God, these dudes are different. And I was looking at them and I was just like truly perplexed. Like, dang, these dudes are actually gay. Like it's almost hard to accept because it's so radically different from my instinct and my nature. It's just like hard, like, dang, like you almost think they're pretending, because it's so unbelievable because it's so different. And that is the truth when you're dealing with goodness and wickedness. You'd be wise to stay away from wicked people. I know they might have said Jesus hung out with prostitutes, but not I. Leave that to Jesus. I ain't Jesus. And last I checked, Jesus couldn't save these hoes, so how could you? Shout out to Jap. You dig? Now, it is important to judge appropriately because, as I point out, you meet a girl, she's all talking about Jesus this, Jesus that, the Lord this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, Allahu Akbar this, Jehovah that. Oh, she's so Mormon. But when you peel back the layers using the Dr. Phil process, if you're not a member at thesassin.com, THESASN.com, we have our Dr. Phil questions there. I encourage you to use them. You find out, you ask the questions we have there, which are numerous, and you find out, oh, you've been pregnant before, but you don't have any kids. Okay, I understand what happened there. You've dealt with guys who are abusive. Okay, damn. So you see all these red flags, and you're like, Marquette, she dated a guy who was abusive. That's him, not her. Is it though? Marquette, the guy was abusive. She was the victim. Is she though? Quet, you wild. Nah, I'm not wild. The female who ends up with a guy who is physically abusive, she selected that guy. We're not in an age where there's arranged marriage. She selected that guy. So it lets you know that something about her judgment criteria, her instincts, select guys who are low. She selects guys who are wicked, which thereby means that if she selects the guys who are wicked, shows them favor. If you are not wicked, if you're dealing with her, you're going to suffer because she is not calibrated to accept and truly want you, because there's something in her that involves self-sabotage, self-hatred, self-destructive forces. And if you're not giving that to her, she's going to push at you and she's going to poke at you until you deliver on that or until you remove yourself from the situation. So as adults, no, I don't think anyone's a victim. Frankly, as adults, I think everyone is pretty much responsible for what they get in life, especially in these United States of America. And these are hard truths to share out, but these are things that I know for sure. I've seen it consistently. These are things that are undeniable. I can tell you, I have never once met a woman who had been physically abused by a man, and then after coming to know her, I was shocked. You see, every time I deal with a woman who has been physically abused by a man and I get to know her, I always say, aha, I can see why. And I'm going to get away from you because I'm not a man who physically abuses women. And that's what you require. That's what you desire. So you're going to keep on pushing at me until I flip out and, do something like that, because that's what you desire. Why do they desire that? They desire that because they grew up in a broken home or a broken family with incompetent parents who are emotional, and the only time that little girl experienced intense attention from her absentee parents was when they were angry and mad. That's the only intense emotion they could get. Therefore, they confused intense emotion of anger or corporal punishment. They confused that with love, because that's the only time they got attention, and all of us want attention. Babies cry for it. Women give out their bodies for it, and men die for it. So you have to understand where you are meant to be and also where you are not meant to be. You have to understand there are people that are unworthy of your presence. They're unworthy of your time. They are unworthy of your energy. And while we're talking about energy and the spiritual side of life, please do know that when people attract to you, it is because you are attractive. And when you are attractive, that is because you have energy. And most people are in lack of energy, and they come to you to take yours, to be around yours, to soak yours up. And if you are around bloodsuckers who cannot match you in energy, they cannot match you in ambition, they cannot match you in goodness, all they can do is sap you of energy, sap you of ambition, and sap you of goodness. That's all they can do. Take it away. And there are many takers among us, very few givers. You'd be wise to be around givers. That's why I have a 3-sentence Bible. Number 1, be yourself. Number 2, be good to yourself. Number 3, be good to good people. If you're only around good people, following this ism, it says be good to good people. You're going to be good to them. They're going to be good to you. For example, my good friend Jabrizi, one of these cameras that you're looking at me through, he just said, hey, you need a camera. I got an extra camera. Take this camera. $1,000 camera. Take this camera. Thank you. He's been good to me. I got VIP tickets, bro. Come on through. I got tickets to floor seats to the boxing match. Come on through. That's my man. So we don't have to exchange money. I'm good to him. He's good to me. That's the beauty of being around good people. You ever been around someone where there's an imbalance constantly? You're like, damn, I give you a lot, but what have you given back? Man, I do a lot for you, but what do you do for me? So this often happens intergender, because we're in the era where women are great deceivers, greater than in the past. Not only will they lie to you, they will also try to take you for every penny. Yes. And so you're in a situation where women think they need to be provided for. They don't want to be provided advice. They don't want to be provided wisdom. They don't want to be provided guidelines. They don't want to be provided standards. They want to be provided money and money only. That's amazing, isn't it? They don't want leadership. They want the money. And so you find yourself in a situation that's parasitic. They're extracting from you, not even viewing you as a human being, and certainly not as a man. May I acknowledge Mr. Tammer comes in by PayPal. He writes, you've thought enough thoughts for a lifetime. Wow. I felt that I know enough and need to do more. You ain't lying. Important to hear a genuine message from a doer. Easier to internalize. Absolutely. And you must hear it again and again and again. May I acknowledge Justin writes, Peace of the Saints, top tier game. Shout out to Marcos. He writes, Peace of the Saints tuition. Shout out to the real ones who are confirmed. I also acknowledge Vernell. He writes, Peace of the Saints tuition. Shout out to Carter, writes, Peace of the Saints. And I also acknowledge Jonathan. He writes, strange. Anyways, may I acknowledge Anthony. He writes via email. Good morning, Marquette. I'm looking forward to All Saints meeting, but I wanted to pay tuition and ask a question so I don't take up too much of the too much time for the other saints in need. Okay, all right, let's see what you got here. So Anthony writes, I'm at my, quote, rock bottom phase right now. Oh, very good. Congratulations. I took a risk to jump into tech by leaving my dead-end job and pursuing a certification in tech, data analytics. Unfortunately, things haven't panned out the way I thought they would. You don't want to use general language. Remember, you're a businessman. Precision is key. When you say things haven't panned out, I don't really know precisely what that means. It sounds like an emotion rather than an observation, and we need not become emotional about things. So what you really state is, I've not been able to land a job in 3 months. That just is what it is, right? He writes, and I've lost almost everything. Well, very good. That first mantra will be helpful to you, which is, I need nothing. If you've lost everything, perfect, because you need nothing. He writes, I don't feel defeated. Very good. I like that. I don't feel defeated. I like that. I'm still determined to make this work out because I don't have the privilege to just give up. Yes, because then you die. You die. You die spiritually. You die in every way. And eventually you will die literally if you give up. I'm currently working at another dead-end job that's paying. You see, language is critical. So let us clean up your language. It's not a dead-end job. It's a lily pad so that you can hop on to the next thing. That's all it is. He says that's paying me even less just to make it by. What advice would you give me? Number one, clean up your language, clean up your thinking. Think in numbers, speak with precision. Speak positively and be optimistic. And also, when you said you pursued your certification, I wouldn't have quit your job to do that. Keep the job, pursue the certification in parallel. The certification is education, it's not income. He writes, my goal is to save up enough for a consultation, so maybe we can go into even more. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. In due time. You'll be successful. Trust me. I'm sure of it. I know for sure. So don't have any worries or any fear. Just deal with what is. It's a waste of your time to be fearful. Most of the things we fear are things that are yet to occur. And then they never occur. Shout out to Josiah with a baller alert. He writes, peace to the saints for the GAME. Shout out to Mr. Thompson supporting by Cash App. Dwayne writes, God bless you, Marquette. You, sir, are a godsend. I appreciate that, Mr. Thompson. Excuse me, Mr. McGruder. Mr. Manuel writes, fortunate to catch another great live. Peace to the saints indeed. And I'm happy and thankful just to rise up strong today. I rose up feeling very strong. I rose up with energy. I rose up ready to do everything. And I also want to share another note with you all in terms of keeping the wicked away from you. And the wicked, sometimes they come with smiles. The wicked, they creep into your life slyly, wearing many disguises and many costumes. You see, the good of those of us who are good, sometimes we have an innocence about us. We have to turn on our thinking caps. It happens to me as well. I remember when I was in Philippines, I was at a very high-end dinner. Many very wealthy people there. We're talking about people with hundreds of millions of dollars and tremendous amounts of status, politicians, moguls. And I was having a conversation with one gentleman and his wife. And he said, what are you doing in Las Vegas? And I answered it casually in a friendly sense. He says, what am I doing? I said, I'm mostly just enjoying life, catching shows, eating at the finest restaurants. I love boxing. I love stand-up comedy. So we have a high concentration of those things. So that's what I mostly do. And then a young lady that I was with says, no, well, what do you do for a living is what he's asking. And in my head, I'm like, no, that's not what he asked, actually. He asked what I do there, and that's what I do there mostly. That's why I'm in that city. I do business all over the world. And I realize that I'm dealing with someone who is trying to assess who I am, to try to understand, well, how do I have enough money to be here, right? Because everyone here is very, very, very wealthy. And so he's essentially saying, well, how do you make money? How do you make enough money that you're here with all of us, especially at your age, because you're like 20 years younger than the next youngest guy? Then I was like, oh, okay, well, I do this and I do that, I do this and I do that. And then the conversation proceeded from there. But I realized that he was not trying to become friends or engage in casual conversation. He was trying to measure me. And you get around these types every now and then. They don't respect your humanity. You know, truth be told, we're all here. Everyone here is wealthy. There's no need to try to, go in too deep. We're on a social situation. Let's make friends. If we become friends, maybe we can do some business, maybe not. That's one situation. Here's another time it occurred. And I forget because I'm not in the rat race. I'm not in the rat race trying my best to make money. I make money and I make the money in the way that I want. Now, I'm not like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that. No. That's not the season of life that I'm in. And I don't think I'll ever be in that season of life ever again. I have something called peace. I was at the dentist. This is sad, really. I was at the dentist. First, I had a dental issue when I was in Philippines. And I didn't want to go to the dentist there, but my assistant had found a very high-end resort that had a dentist in it. And so she said, okay, go here. This must be where the wealthy Filipinos go. So I go, and the dentist is asking me all these questions about America and telling me she wants to go to America to become a dentist. And it's a Chinese woman. I could tell that she had no soul. And every now and then you can tell people have no soul. There is nothing good within them. And I could tell that she had no soul, in as much she had no bedside manner, and everything in the conversation was about her and what she wanted to do. It was not the youthful ambition of a child or a young person or an immature person or even a thoughtless woman who's just like excited. It was more so like the vain ambition of someone who wants to gobble up money so that they can live the high life that they see on television and Instagram. I could tell she had no soul. Anyways, I had a very simple dental issue. I played American football as a youngster, and I took a hit here, and it crushed a small portion of my rear molar. And so I had some composite put on there. It lasted for a decade, and then it came off when I was in Philippines, and I just needed the composite replaced. I've never had a cavity ever to this day. And that's as a result of good habits and not engaging in sweets and rich foods. So anyways, all I needed was some composite put back on that tooth. And so here she is saying, I think you're going to need a root canal. You're going to need this. You're going to need that. And then my assistant texts me, and she's like, no, you're not getting any of that. Number one, I don't believe that. Number two, if you got to do all that, we flying back to America. And then I say, okay, no thanks. I'll just take the composite for now. She's like, okay, but you probably want to do this and do that. She's like, I should do a cleaning for you. When's the last time you had a cleaning? Do you smoke cigarettes? Do you drink coffee? Now, this is a scam right here. The reason we know it's a scam is because, number one, I don't smoke cigarettes, never have smoked anything of any kind. Number two, I don't drink coffee or tea of any kind ever. I don't even know what coffee tastes like. And number three, I have had a cleaning recently, and clearly I take care of my teeth at such a level that I've never once had a cavity. So what she's doing is she's trumping up things so that she can sell me more services. And so she's like, oh, you need a cleaning. Okay, give me a cleaning. And as much as I don't think a cleaning is going to be hurtful, right? Okay, give me a cleaning. There you go. You made some more money. Give me a cleaning. Now put the composite on. So she gives me the cleaning, puts on the composite. Now, mind you, she said I need a root canal and all this other crap. I fly back to the United States. I go to the very best dentist in Las Vegas, the most expensive one. And this one was recommended by someone who uses their dentistry office. And after, so I'm in there, and initially the first woman's talking to me, the female that comes out and takes the x-rays, and then the dentist comes in, and he's having some conversation, and I told him, the kind of the backstory. I was abroad when this happened, and I came back to get it done correctly because it broke off while I was in Dubai. I got it done in the Philippines. It broke off while I was in Dubai, and so I just need you to repair this. And so I guess just the nature of the conversation, he was like, oh man, maybe this guy has some money. I was like, oh, well, what do you do for a living? And then in my head, I'm like, here we go. I do this. He's like, oh, okay, all right. And then so he's like, okay, well, all we need to do is, pop this composite back on there. We might not even need to numb you. Okay, so now this is after they've taken x-rays. The dentist in the Philippines didn't even take x-rays, and she's telling me I needed a root canal. You see? And mind you, this is also why American culture is so important. People in third world countries and developing countries, a lot of them are not good people. And a part of it at some level is their culture. It's not poverty. It's not poverty. It's their culture. I'm not speaking of the Filipino people. I'm just speaking of third world countries, developing countries in general. And there is a certain culture in places where it's still developing. I actually love Filipino people, especially the ones I know in America. I mean, honestly, when I was going to the Philippines, I've never been more optimistic about any country in my life. But anyways, she was saying I need a root canal. She hadn't even taken an x-ray. The doctor in Las Vegas, the dentist in Las Vegas, took an x-ray. He was like, oh, now this is fairly superficial. You might not even need to be numb. We can just pop this composite on. So anyways, they go ahead and pop the composite on. And then he says to me, oh yeah, and I told him, I said, if you put the composite on, would you make sure that it's fairly flat, because I grind my teeth every now and then. He says, oh, you're a grinder. I say, yeah. And then he says, I have this dental dental appliance. Yes, he has. I have a dental appliance that I use that I would recommend to you. He says, how do you sleep? Do you sleep well? I said, I sleep fantastically well. He said, do you snore? I was like, almost never. He says, when you wake up, do you feel energized? Or do you feel a little bit groggy, a little bit sleepy? I was like, no, I wake up feeling like $1,000,000. I wake up ready to go. He was like, do you ever need to take naps during the day? I was like, I never take naps. He was like, oh, okay. He's like, well, yeah, I want to recommend this appliance to you. It's one that I use. So he goes and gets it and shows me the appliance. He's like, yeah, I use this one. And he's like, it really helps with snoring. He's like, and when you're snoring, that means you're not getting air into the brain and you're not getting air. And, if you don't get air, things are not, like just like a car, it needs air to, run efficiently. And that's why, you might experience being drowsy, or you might need a nap, or you don't get good quality sleep. And so he tells me this story about how he recently had an issue because he forgot his dental appliance and he didn't get good sleep. And then I'm just listening to this like, wow, like, were you listening to me at all when you asked me your series of questions? Then he leaves and an Indian woman comes back and she says, yeah, I just, he told me that you might be interested in this appliance. So, this is how much it costs. I want to give you guys a chance. How much do you think that dental appliance costs? And this is a dental appliance specifically designed to stop people who have a snoring issue. And I did not have a snoring issue. And stop people who are having trouble sleeping as a result of their issues with snoring and air intake. And I told him I didn't have any of that, which is a fact. How much do you think that dental appliance was, ladies and saints? Okay, so he said $600. Said 250, 700, 2,000. That dental appliance, I think it was retailing at 4,000, and they said they would like knock it down to like 3,500 for me. And I was like, wow, so you're trying to sell me something for $3,000, which is something that I do not need at all.